This one simple lesson could help you 10x your revenue, so listen closely. Just this past month, my family and I moved into a new home, and this home has a completely unfinished basement. It's dusty and dirty down there, and it's missing most of the walls. It has a few lights, but needs a lot of electrical and plumbing work, and so it's a pretty big job. So once we got here, I wanted to get somebody over to give me a bid. So within a few days, I had the first guy over to tell me exactly what it would cost to do the framing and the drywall. And the first thing that he told me was, I don't do electrical, I don't do plumbing, and so talk to me later once you have all of those things figured out, and then I'll give you a bid on the walls. Now this was a bit frustrating for me because there's a lot going on moving into a new house on top of having kids and work and all the other things going on. The last thing that I wanted to do was learn how all of this works and then assemble a team to do each individual task. Now, this guy was a specialist when it came to framing and drywall, and I appreciate a specialist, but he didn't help me fill in all of the other gaps that I needed. I was really relying on him to show up and tell me exactly what needed to be done to get this basement finished. And instead, he just told me that I can't help you with the other things, and so you're on your own. And so needless to say, I wasn't terribly impressed with this guy, and he didn't win my business. So the very next day, I found a guy on Facebook, and I contacted him, and he showed up that very same day to come give me a bid on the framing and drywall and anything else that he was willing to take on. And from the very moment that he walked into my house, I knew that this was going to be a much better option. He took a quick look at the basement and said, this is going to be no problem, Peyton. I have an electrician that I trust that can run all of the lines. I've also got a plumber that can handle all of the bathrooms, and I can work in conjunction with these guys to make sure that no time is wasted and we can all be working at the same time. He also said that he has somebody that can do carpet, hardwood floors, painting, and anything else that we might need. So even though this guy was a specialist when it came to framing and drywall, he was also sort of a general contractor. He was able to assemble the team for me so I didn't have to do it. Now, from my perspective as the client or the customer, this saved me a lot of time and stress and hassle, and so I was willing to pay a lot more because this guy was going to manage the team. He was going to make sure that everything gets done right and on time. And so through the life of this project, he was pretty much the only person I was going to have to deal with. And so once this deal was done, I could get back to my work and my family and allow him to do what he does best. So needless to say, this is the guy that's going to get the job, and he's going to end up making about 10 times what the other specialist was going to make because he's willing to run the role as a general contractor and assemble the right team for me. So this was the realization that I had for you and I as designers and developers. Even though we specialize in those few services, that doesn't mean that we can't also play the role of a general contractor. Once a client contacts us needing a website, we can help them understand the other services that they need, and then we can assemble the teams and tools to get it all done. And by doing this, we're going to develop a longer-term relationship with this client, and through this process, we're gonna make way more money. So I imagine that many of you are currently just offering website services. The client comes to you, you charge them a few $1,000s, and once the website is done, they leave and you're looking for new clients. But if you can make that switch to being their online general contractor, these are going to turn into much longer term engagements. And rather than just selling a $2,000 one-time website, these clients are going to start paying you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year to run their entire online business. Or in other words, everything that they need to run their business online is going to go through you first. Okay, so here are a few points that you're going to want to remember if you want to make this work. Number one, you don't have to be an expert in every individual service in order to offer it. You just need to have a basic enough knowledge to find somebody else that can do it right. So in my instance, I don't do a whole lot of Google ads, but I do have somebody that I trust to run my clients' Google ads, and so I'm going to pass that work off to that person and get some sort of commission or kickback. The second point is you can take on different levels of responsibility and earnings. Maybe you want to assemble a full team that feels like one unified organization. And so you do all of the contracts and the billing and the reporting, and you have people behind the scenes fulfilling the work. But you could also completely wash your hands of it and just pass the work on to somebody else and get a simple kickback. As an online general contractor, you don't have to pretend to be the person doing all of the work. You can just simply tell your clients, that's not something that I do, but I have a few different people that I trust for these different services, and I'd be happy to pass you along to them. So in this case, you're not adding any additional work. You're simply making the referrals and the connections, and you have an agreement with those specialists that they're going to give you some sort of financial compensation. Okay, point number 3, trust and communication are going to be even more important because this isn't a simple 4-week project. This is a long-term relationship that you're building with these clients. If you're going to work with them month after month and year after year, you have to make sure that they trust you. You have to make sure that you're open and transparent and honest with them. And over time, you're going to become the person that they trust for all things online. And finally, point number 4, put yourself on the same team as your client. Your client should feel like you have their best interest at heart, because you do. You need to be the person that they can confide in, that they can ask for ideas and opinions and advice, and they shouldn't ever feel like you're the person that keeps coming back to them to upsell them on more and more services. So in other words, you want to become their guy or their girl, the person that they can always trust and rely on to get the job done. So if you want to run your business like an online general contractor, here's what you need to do. Number 1 is you need to create an offer ladder. This is your strategy for upselling different services after your initial offer. So if you want to learn more about how an offer ladder works, I would suggest checking out this video. And then once you've done that, you just need to determine for each individual service how it's going to get fulfilled, whether that be by tools, by yourself, or by other contractors. And then you just need to start building your network of reliable contractors that you can trust to pass them work. By making this simple shift in your business, you're going to be able to increase the lifetime value of all of your clients and become an irreplaceable asset for them. So I'm excited to see how this works for you. Thanks for watching.